I'm also not actually, really finishing this door again because, there's no purpose for me to. Some of the things in the videos that I've shown, that the multiple sub enclosure box I actually built for someone. So I went through and finished that whole thing and did it, all the way through and through. The one sub lid box, I didn't sell to anyone. I still have it, and it looks just like it did at the end of that video. I still have this door panel, and it looks just like it did at the end of this video, and I'll never be able to use this door panel. Nobody would ever want to, because the top of it is flimsy. Pretty much any of those areas on the front of the door panel, if you push on them, they will flex in a little bit, which it would still work. You could put this in a car and it'll be fine. It'll never mess up, it won't break, it won't do anything like that. I mean, it could if you opened your door and drop kicked the face of this door panel. You could probably crack it, but it would be hard to actually crack it. But it does flex, and usually when doing this stuff, you don't want it to flex. It's just, it doesn't feel right, especially in a subwoofer box. If any of the surface flexes, it can actually throw off your tuning quite a bit. And you really have to watch for that in sealed enclosures, because there's a lot of pressure inside those boxes. Inside of a ported box, it's not that big of an issue because there's not as much pressure inside the box. But ported, it would be. This is not. This isn't sealed or ported. This is just a door panel. They don't have to have any airspace or anything. You usually don't want them just free air, but they're not free air. They're in some kind of an enclosure. And when it plays, it's not going to flex the front of the door panel or anything like that. It's not going to shake it or make it look weird, but just the feel of it won't be right. It's just not a professional job. If you're going to do something like this, you want it to feel solid, crisp, But these are a little bit harder than what I normally do, because I always like to do the inside of a box. Now, door panels, you can't usually do the inside unless you mold your own. Now, if you take this how it is right now and we sanded it and it's just plain, simple, and dry, you can take that masking tape and go over this entire door panel just like we did with the factory one. And instead of molding the factory door panel, we'll mold a finished door panel. So you only have to build one of these one time, and it doesn't matter how many layers of fiberglass you have underneath it or anything, just as long as it's a decently solid shape and you've got everything how you want it. Obviously I wouldn't do it right now because it's not sanded up, it's not just perfect. I get this whole thing just perfect. Then you mold over that. Now you have a door panel that you can just keep pumping out, and it's just custom made for this size equipment that I've got in here. And these two small holes on the right are just 3.5, and these two mid-ranges are, I believe, 5.25. And then you've got this little mount that I'm sanding over right now. It's just for the crossovers. And I've got two tweeters. Just because basically I'm using a set of speakers in one door. I'm using two sets, the left and the right, that would essentially be in your car on your left and your right door. I'm just taking all of that and cramming it into one door. Just doubling it up. And I'm also using 220 pad on this sander right now, if anyone is interested in that. But I do go over all those steps in a PDF for painting, just to prep for paint. And that's how I'm doing this one right now. I'm prepping it to be painted. But what you can also do to keep a little more factory look in a car, especially if you have leather, is to go ahead and get leather, not real leather, because it's way too expensive. They don't use real leather in cars anyway. And you can lay it over this door, and it's kind of hard to do. But if you just take, you can use a heat gun, is always good to have. It's kind of like a blow dryer, but a lot more powerful, and spray adhesive. And you spray the entire door down. You know, this is provided we're not molding this door, we're finishing it. You know, spray the entire door down, lay your fabric over the door, whatever you want to cover it in. Doesn't have to be leather, it can be tweed, whatever. Lay it over the door and start pressing it down. Get anything, any kind of bubbles out. But on the back side, you're going to want to use a stronger adhesive, not just spray adhesive. Spray adhesive, though, is very strong. It's really strong. It'll hold. Sometimes if you let it dry there, it's almost hard to pull off. Like you got to put some strength in the back of it to just rip it off. If you're using a good spray adhesive. Some spray adhesives are nasty, terrible, and they don't really work. I'm just fast forwarding this because, I mean, we've gone over a lot of these steps already in other videos about how to, you know, how to sand, how to get all these things out, how to finish a box. We've already gone over the Bondo. I mean, I'm pretty confident that anybody who's watched the previous videos could do this, just seeing it up to the stage of where I started to wrap it. It was just like finishing off a box. And you see too, I've laid over that, you know, some glazing putty. I'm not going to do the whole door, just because we have already gone over this in previous videos of how to do all of this. I even got the PDFs out there of the exact steps to take. But, you know, of course, if you're going to paint it, go over it, you know, glaze it, do your high build primer, layers, everything, just like normal. And this is where it becomes complicated. Of course, you don't want to attach your top piece back until you've painted or finished your, you know,